they owned the entire point. They bought the whole point out here, and the point is directly that direction. So they would have owned all the shoreline here and here, all the way back to Maple Beach Road. So pretty big chunk of land. And when it was purchased in 1835 for less than $3,500 from the U.S. government, and then Azor Kinney built a little farmhouse in the back here. So that's 1836. They had their own little Indian tribe back then called the Taitas. And that's all those little teepee symbols that you see all over this map. Those are all different tribes. Black Hawk Camp, the Maneater Village, the Kewascoms, Atkinson's Trail. But Taylor's Point is what this place is known as, and this was the Taylor House Hotel for years. So this is the first structure that was built. Little step up here. So this would have been built 1836, and this was the original two-story farmhouse with a loft.
Oh, wow.
So it had the loft beam, the beam pocket you can see, so the beam went across. And then in the early 1900s, this room down below became a dairy. It was known as the Maple Beach Guernsey Dairy. So they had to make the walls washable. So they put the concrete schmear over the top of them, and the stone is still back there. So you can see it. So this is just a German schmear of concrete to make the walls washable, then it would have been painted. So they sold milk, butter, cheese, and cream and such out of this space. And I've got one of their little dairy bottles out in front in a trophy case. And I tore the drywall off, took the studs down, and went back to the original stone. My art teacher from high school is going to paint a mural on that stone on that side, which is going to be chew mail pouch tobacco. Refreshingly good, because that's what Edgerton's known for. I'll take you to the basement. That's technically where SAS, that other group, finds most of the activity is in the basement. They bring $500,000 worth of radio or audio and video equipment with them. Killed the music in here, and all of the furnaces should be off, so anything you record you'll be able to pick up.
Okay.
I'll give you a tour of the rest of the building first. That was not attached at that time, that part. They lived there, and then this was the hotel. So the staircase would have been there, and it's a true 4-story building. And it had an observation tower up on the roof, and you would climb here, 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 and then you'd go up into the observation tower, and that staircase still exists in the attic space. But we don't go in the attic because of the amount of bats.
Oh, geez.
There is a gazillion of them.
Bats.
Yeah, lots of bats. If this place should ever burn, you could never rebuild it. 16-inch thick limestone walls. And I took all of the paneling off that was in here. It was like it was walnut paneling. It was dark as a cave. So I took all the paneling off and saw the stone, and I knew the look I wanted.
So you said this was built what year?
This part is 1871.
1870. Wow.
Yep, 1836, 1871, and then about 1910 for the big dining room. Originally, it would have been built without plumbing for the old hotel, so it would have been chamber pots. All of this. So the family that sold this in 1960 was able to take everything out of the building because the guy was going to gut it and remodel it all. So they took this set, which used to be up in the bridal suite in the early 1900s, and they brought it back to me. But that's the fanciest chamber pot I've ever seen. So that would have been under the bed, and you would have taken care of business right in there, and then the maid would have taken care of it in the morning. Fireplace is original to the building. When this section was built in 1910, they don't do this type of grout line any longer. This is probably all stone they found in the area around here and made it all work. Oh, I guess you can see the restrooms too. The ladies' room is pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
I started with 2 mirrors, and then people found out I was looking for mirrors, and then the rest of them just showed up. And every stall has mirrors in it.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's some really cool ones. And I know mirrors bring all sorts of spirits.
Mirror vortex.
Yeah.
Gotta love that.
Yeah. Men's room is dedicated to the Nunbush Shoe Factory. Those are the cabinets that are upstairs in the bridal suite.
Cool.
I've rented that space out to photo opportunities for groups. The Nunbush Shoe Factory was downtown Edgerton for over 80 years. They made men's shoes. Very fancy men's shoes, and these are shoe forms from the Nunbush Shoe Factory.
That's cool.
And then Nunbush shoes on the walls. I made these light fixtures. Somebody gave me the ship's wheels.
Oh.
We have 4 Indians down and around the property.
I like those ship
And
wheels.
God damn it, they are not Native Americans, they're Indians. Somebody brought these back to me. These used to hang above the original bar here back in the 50s and 60s. And that same family that brought me that vanity set brought these back. All right, so there's no light here on the hall, so let me get downstairs and I will turn the light on down. So, for an old basement, it's in pretty darn good shape.
It is in good shape.
Better than my mom's. People were shorter back then.
Yeah.
Anybody else down here with us?
Nope. Well, it could be. Well, get your spirit meter out and they'll tell you.
I got it out.
Yeah, the boilers are off, furnaces are off, so any noise or anything, you'll get from them. If you shine your light back into there, you see there's an archway, and then it's all concreted off, going that direction.
I got my light in my bag.
Here,
My
let me-
backpack.
Let me just throw my
He has a really
flashlight
good
in.
light.
So you see how it's arched
Uh-huh.
and it's concreted off? Supposedly there's a tunnel between this building and the cellar building, which is another little bar down the street. And it's at least a block and a half long.
Oh, wow.
But when Capone stayed here, he always had an escape route.
Oh.
Always.
Capone stayed here?
Capone stayed
Oh, wow.
here in the old hotel. The most famous person was probably Roosevelt.
Oh, wow.
Teddy, he stayed here because he was an avid fisher and hunter. And he came up duck hunting.
That's cool.
And so it was before he was president, though. He would come down here and do bookwork in this awful, awful space.
Who,
The former owner,
oh.
he would come down here and this is where he would do his bookwork.
This is,
Creepy.
yeah, to say the least.
And I haven't taken a lot of stuff out. And those toys up on that ledge there, I left those alone. I didn't touch them. Don't know if they're for the kids over here. Whenever the SAS guys are here, there seems to be a lot of activity, like right in this area. One of the girls was actually punched in the kidneys.
Oh, geez.
Somebody asked a question and she didn't wait for a response, and the spirit must have got mad at her.
Oh.
And then the very first time she was here, she was the one that got home and she had scratch marks all over across her arm that she doesn't remember.
Are there any spirits down here that would like to communicate? All you have to do is come up to this box and touch it, make the lights move.
They have a tunnel that's almost exactly the same shape and size.
Well, I mean, what I meant by that is because you could probably spend a little money to see if you can basically just drill a hole like that long to see if.
Well, and if Capone was here.
And it stopped flickering. It stopped.
So far the insurance company's pretty happy with everything that I've done.
See the toys that they left?
Electrical, plumbing. Nope, the light's flickering again.
And the light's flickering again. If that's you flickering a light, can you make it stop? It stopped.
Make a flicker.
It could just be coincidence, but
Could be.
could you make it flicker again? If that was you?
How's your meter?
It hasn't gone off.
Before I kill the lights, I want to make sure you're up to steps because they're tricky.
I see that. Oof.
Yeah, the bottom step's bigger.
Oh yeah. And they're not exactly to code, but they have to be fun to wrestle into place. Close that behind you. So look at the stone on this building for 1836. It's an incredible
It is.
condition.
It's in really good shape.
And then the main hotel part, not a single corbel is missing from up around the roof line. They're all still in place.
Wow.
That's the original gold color that it's always been.
That's in really good shape.
All of that wood is cypress wood, which how do you get cypress wood in Wisconsin? It must have come up the Mississippi. That's the only way it could have come here.
Yeah.
In 1871. Yeah, it's really a remarkable shape.
That's incredible, though.
Yeah, all the wood needs to just be scraped and painted. Now we're entering the old hotel.
Oh my.
Oh yeah. So this is the last of the electricity. The staircase going down to the bar room would have been right here. So it would have continued. So you could have stood in the bar area and looked at the third floor ceiling.
Oh wow.
Yeah, go this way. This bed frame that's in here was set up over here in the bridal suite. But look at the fancy wallpaper and
Oh wow.
yeah. When electricity came around, then the only thing they did was add a single string bulb in the middle of each room. That was it. No outlets, no nothing. Just one bulb. And it would have been coal or wood stoves for heat. So these cabinets were original to 1871. This is where Teddy Roosevelt stayed, was in this room.
Uh-huh.
This would have been the sleep. Let's see, where's my Teddy picture? Is this one Teddy? No, that's Honest Abe Lincoln. So this was the bridal suite. So the bride, she was able to go from her room privately going into the bathroom without having to go out into the hall. So this is so the clawfoot tub is still there. The sink is super cool. The toilets are cool. Oh yeah. See, this room has no heat. It has a closet, but it had no heat.
Huh.
So there's no vent or pipe for the stove. But all the wallpaper is different in each of the rooms.
I see that.
But that fancy border paper. So instead of fixing the roof, when the last guys were here, what they did is they would just big sheets of plastic and they would run the water out windows.
I'm getting kind of like a heavy feeling.
That is said quite often up here.
Yeah. Definitely getting sort of.
So I think somebody started to work on this and was going to do something with that. Or a lot. Oh yeah. Let me get in. And it's funny, my pest guy was just here this morning and sprayed. He'll be dying as soon as he hits a wall. So yeah, I'm sure that bats come flying down out of the attic through here
I'm sure.
every now and then. Because they're dormant for 5 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So this is the attic stairs. There was a family that lived in my apartment 55 years ago. And the little girls would come up here and play. This was their playground. Mm-hmm. And one girl, she was up here, she remembers covering this hole with, she thinks it was like whiteout, but it was really thick. She goes, because her mom had told her that bats can fit through a keyhole. We found all of the kids' names, all of the girls that lived up here, and pretended this was their schoolhouse. And so out of the 4 girls, 3 of them became teachers. And this was grade 2, written in chalk, still here.
Wow.
And then there was Miss Thomas. I don't know why it was Thomas, because that was not her last name. This was their last name here, is Miss Naylor. And then this is the little girl that put the stuff in the keyhole. Her name is Jerry, G-E-R-I. Her name is still up here 55 years later.
Wow.
In chalk. When we had the opportunity.
Are those the original door numbers?
Those are original numbers.
Wow.
All of it original hardware.
That's cool.
You don't get stuff like that anymore.
You don't.
And they must have had a fire down on the second floor at one time because I saw some of the paint had bubbled. All of this stuff must have been built in place.
And now I feel.
They must have milled it all here.
And now I feel fine.
Just they're filled up in the walls.
I feel fine in here.
Okay, so it's that one room.
It's that one
And
room,
that's room 11
right there.
That's the last room. That's 11. But when I'm sitting on my couch in my apartment, I feel like there's a little somebody watching me while I'm watching TV.
I was just gonna ask if you've ever seen anything yourself, or.
I got up this morning and my door was open in the kitchen, going out to my porch. I know I closed it last night.
Doors opening, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like there's always somebody watching me, like through the glass doors over here, going into the apartment. As I'm so this would have been the maid's closet back when chambermaids earned their keep, and they
Yeah.
actually had to empty the chamber pots and such. And in a remarkable shape, and the original number still. I don't want to make it too clean either, because then I think you disturb things.
Yeah, probably.
So I'm just gonna leave it as is. You want any more info up here, or you want to wander around up here? You no?
No, it's just that one room.
11. Room 11.
That one
That
room.
one is, it gets a lot of people. Because these guys, they stayed overnight here a year ago this past March.
Uh-huh.
And no heat upstairs, no lights, no nothing. So 7 of them slept up in the old hotel, and 6 of them slept in the basement on their sleeping bags.
Ooh.
And there was a lot of activity that night. All of the furnaces were shut down. It was pretty incredible what they found.
Oh my. That's something.
Yeah, this is dated, what, 1907. So this is what the lake looked like at that point. Now the lake has gotten substantially bigger because
Yeah.
they put the dams in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gotten way bigger than this. So Taylor's Point has not changed in shape, but almost everything else has. Because Lake Hashkana is huge. So yeah, you're at the Taylor House
Yeah.
Hotel.